And welcome back with another first impressions video. And this time it will be the famous or infamous Cyberpunk. I have now put in around 15 hours of gameplay, and I feel like I have enough footage and enough experience in the game to make a quick kinda how should I put this, taste of what this game has to offer. Think of it as a starter course, You have your starter, you have your main, and you have your dessert kind of thing, and that's how I see these impression videos. They are meant to kind of whetten your appetite for what's to come. So let's talk about one of the first things I noticed and was impressed was the price tag. I bought it for €60 on the day it came out. I did not pre-order the game, and you still receive all your bonuses, bonus gear, bonus items. At least I did. I received it even though I bought it just when the game officially came out, and I didn't pre-order it basically. When most of the game, I don't know about the prices on PlayStation and Xbox. I bought my game on PC, and it was €60, which was I was happy to see that. It's a positive thing in my opinion that CD Projekt Red, the company, decided to keep the price a bit, how should I put this, a bit more down to earth. But it does make me wonder, as I'm going to discuss further, if there was a reason why they chose the 60 price tag, and it might not be the reason that you think. It might not be because out of the goodness of the CD Projekt's heart that they have decided to drop the price. One of the first questions I assume you people have are the bugs. I heard that PlayStation and Xbox have their bugs. Yes, PC has them too. I will showcase them in the video as well. And they're bad. Some of them are bad. Some of them not so much. But you can tell that the game was not finished. Like there is one particular bug, the trees that just you can see the trees no matter what obstacle. Like the trees are, you'll see the trees through the building walls, like missions, and that is very annoying. And yes, I have received the first 1.4 gigabyte patch for it, and those bugs are kind of fixed. What I mean, the trees seem to be less see-through. The trees tend to be less visible, but they still appear through other surfaces. They still appear through buildings. They just seem to do so less. I don't know what exactly the patch did. I haven't read the notes. But yeah, bugs wise, there's quite a few of them. Every time I turn on the game, I encounter a new bug. Game graphics wise, I think the game looks fine. On my system, again, my system is not the most powerful system on the planet. I always consider my system to be just maybe slightly above average, but average nonetheless. And my average system handles the game on ultra and high settings. That's what it says. But when I look at the game itself, it does not feel that way. The graphics always, like, I can always see the NPCs' faces and the cars rendering in a distance. And when I come up to them, they still render for a second or two. And then they load the proper graphics, if that makes sense. But the same is also with the NPCs themselves. But the location, like the streets and the buildings, they seem to be fine. Anything that's static, in my opinion, seems to be fine. But anything that's moving, I encounter problems with that. Does that mean that my PC maybe has difficulties rendering and handling the game? Maybe, and if that's so, I would like to hear what you have to say about it in the comments. But if not, then that's another issue for the game. Now, moving us away from bugs and kind of graphics and technical stuff, let's talk about more the game itself. One of the first things you do in the game is you create a character, male or female. Uh, as far as I know, male and female. I haven't tried any other combinations, but I think you can do that. You can have a male with female genitalia and vice versa. Because when I was making Guy, and yes, you can edit your private area. Yes, you can edit it. However, there is like options for that, which is crazy, especially male options. Men seem to get more options. For women, it's one option, you know, for editing the private area, and I think that's kind of it's silly, but at the same time, why not? But I really don't know the purpose of it. It seems it's just there for the meme, the ability to edit your private area. Right, anyways, you can edit your character. There is, in my opinion, enough customization to make variety of characters, but not enough in terms of, in my opinion, coolness. You know, like this, I wanted more outlandish, more kind of futuristic styles, if that makes sense, right? To live up to the fantasy. I find most of the cosmetics are more on the safe side, on the generic side. It's not a bad thing. I just thought they might go a bit more crazier with that. Yeah, you can like customize certain like cybernetic look that you have on your character, which is nice, and I welcome that. But I wish there was maybe more of it, if that makes sense. Feels a little bit underwhelming. After that, you know, you choose your one of the excuse me, you choose one of your three paths, your backgrounds. You know, the corpo, the street kid, or the nomad. I personally choose corpo simply because I like that kind of environment more. You know, I don't like the whole nomad and street kid. Although street kid was my second choice. Uh, do those choices matter? Sure, because I think your first missions change depending on which background you pick, and obviously your dialogue choices. Although I'm not sure if the dialogue choices mean anything. You know, if you have street kid conversation, street kid background, or corpo background, or nomad background, I'm not really sure if there is a different level of impact, right? If that makes sense. Or, like, if I talk to a guy who's blocking a door and I'm corpo, I will probably manage to maybe convince my way to passing through the guy, right? But if I'm a if I'm a nomad, what then? Where I like intimidate him into letting me through, like not necessarily convince, but intimidate. But it will be the same thing at the end, that kind of thing. Um, in general, like moving and interacting with the world, that's fine. Uh, I always adjust my sensitivity. For me, it's always on the low side. On the computer, maybe on consoles, it's perfect. In general, moving and interacting is fine. The button mapping also works. There are, like in general, no issues there. You just start playing. You can customize your character. You can wear outfits, and outfits have rarities, and weapons have rarities. Everything has a rarity because this is an RPG. Uh, which is fine. Shooting is your standard shooting. Uh, there's nothing unique about it. Although, they do seem to have this like smooth and almost like flawless transition when you aim and take cover. That's one thing I have noticed that if I just start aiming and moving around my environment, my character will automatically find cover to lean in and lean out of and start shooting, which is smooth and keeps that action thing going. That action feeling keeps it going. I appreciate that. Driving seems to be uh, how do I put this? Bare bones. When I drive car on the PC, it feels bad. It's not the driving just feels to me like it's slapped on. Again, yeah, I kind of get it. Uh, the way the streets are designed, they're not meant for this like need for speed, crazy driving. But I think driving is very boring, very safe. Um, and when you turn and kind of go into drift, it feels bad. Maybe it was just the kind of cars I was driving, but I was stealing a few cars there and here, and I realized that most cars have this kind of when you turn, feels a bit staticky, feels a bit off, doesn't feel smooth. Uh, I don't know how to describe that feeling, but the driving feels off for me. Again, yeah, you can craft stuff in the game. Like you can customize your crafting items. Like you can craft, for example, a sniper rifle, and you can customize it to a degree. There's extensive skill trees, in my opinion, that help you with crafting and other stuff. Uh, Crafting is pretty simple. I appreciate that. It's nothing too complicated. It looks complicated, but it's actually simple enough. You can dismantle pretty much anything you acquire in the game. The way I understand it, there is even an option to automatically dismantle junk, and you can start collecting them materials for better upgrades. Um, you would need to go to like a guide online and see what kind of skills you want to pick for your character. I think that's like the one thing you should do as your homework before you start playing a character. Right now, I am playing a character and I have no no idea what I want my skills to be because I like a bit of everything, and so my character ends up having a bit of everything in skills. I thought I'm gonna specialize in a few things, and then it turns out, well, I like to be able to do everything. Then that's and then you have to care about what you craft as well because of that. Hacking in game, there is hacking, and my goodness, there's multiple ways of hack stuff. You have your quick hacks, like in action kind of stuff, and you also have your like out of combat hacking as well. Uh, and what can I say about that? It's nice, it's simple, it works. Yeah, that's all I have to say about hacking for now. There is also this detective stuff which kind of bleeds into hacking. Uh, what do I mean detective stuff? Like you can pretty much during story time, I haven't found a way to do it outside of story time where you like record stuff and then you can, which you recorded, you can exit out of it. I'll be showing this in the video, and you can just kind of manipulate your environment and do some detective stuff on it. You have to see it to kind of understand where I'm going with this. And that was nice as well, although that felt like too much, which is cool, but I don't know how cool enough is it. To me, it felt okay. Yeah, I guess it's nice. Uh, when looking at this game, I have played what I think are similar games to this, and the closest comparison to Cyberpunk I can draw is Deus Ex Machina, Humankind Divided. I think that's the name of it. Hopefully, I'll be showing you a poster or something for the game. Feels very like that. Feels at least inspired. I wouldn't be surprised if CD Red told me that, yeah, you're right, Peter. This is, yeah, we kind of used Deus Ex Machina as a template for our game. And if that's the case, this isn't like Cyberpunk isn't this kind of revolutionary greatest thing since sliced bread game. In my opinion, Deus Ex did just as good as a job as Cyberpunk, and maybe even better with less bugs. So there is that. People who say that the game is like GTA, I don't know what the hell are they talking about. This game is nothing like GTA, especially when GTA was just launched. If if I am one of those people who remember because I bought GTA 5 on launch date, and it's nothing like Cyberpunk. The only reason people compare it to Cyberpunk is because you can do like first person stuff in GTA, and people might think the driving is similar, which is not. GTA, in my opinion, has way better driving. Most games have better driving than Cyberpunk, in my opinion. For now, that's how I see it. Well, then, what about the conclusions? Overall, I think the game is fine. I'm not gonna say that this game is the best thing since invention of the wheel or anything like that. The bugs do make the game look cheaper, but I would like to take opportunity to mention something certain YouTuber, maybe you know him, maybe you don't, but with whom I wholeheartedly agree with. His name is Jim Sterling from the Jim Sterling Show on YouTube. You can find him. I agree with what he says that he says and that Cyberpunk, like CD Projekt Red and other gaming companies, they they squeeze the, I hate to use this phrase, but they squeeze the living essence, the soul from their employees to push these games as fast as possible. You know, it's called crunch, and I fear that this is exactly what happened with Cyberpunk. People were behind because people wanted to polish the game, and the executives, the marketing and everyone kept stepping on the game developers to push this game as fast as possible. And this is what you get when that happens. You get a buggy mess at launch, which is a shame, a big shame. And me buying this game in this state means I support that kind of behavior, which is not true, but unfortunately my actions showed otherwise. So if you're watching this video and you haven't bought Cyberpunk, I would say don't do the mistake that I did, or many people did. Don't buy the game right now when it's so messy and so buggy. You're doing no favors to the development team. In fact, you're hurting them. The only person who is benefiting from this are the corpos. Let's put it like that. The corpo. And with that having said, this is my first impressions of Cyberpunk. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it informative. If there is anything you think I missed, or could have added, or didn't elaborate enough on, feel free to mention that in the comments. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video, and I hope to see you guys again. Cheers.